I've studied a lot of, and I've talked a lot about on this channel, the philosophy of improvisation. And the reason for this is, first of all, it was really fun to do the weird, silly, dumb theatre sportsy games. I really enjoyed it, but also I realized how much substance there was in the domain of philosophy of improv. And if you haven't heard of this, I'm not surprised. Improvisation is like the whose line is it anyway crap that is just like cheap and funny gags. What do you mean there's some like deep underwriting, profound philosophy that can inform how we should and could live our lives to a fuller extent? But that's there. And the reason that this is part of improvisation is because you have improvised almost your entire life. Every conversation that you've ever had, you've probably improvised, unless you were actually on a stage presenting and remembering lines from a script. Then you made that up as you went along in response to the world around you. Now, I should probably make sure improvisation it's like from the theatre world, and it's the, what you do when you don't have a script. Improvisation is making things up. But as I'm saying here, it's not just on a stage. It comes from a stage, it comes from how do you feel in time when something might go wrong on a stage? What do you do? I remember one time I was performing in The Importance of Being Earnest, and there's a very crucial scene right at the end where a handbag is discovered, and that handbag is very significant to the plot, and everything revolves around it. One of the days that we were performing that, we couldn't find the handbag. Someone had misplaced it backstage, and someone walked out and went, "I don't know where it is." And that's not the line. So from there, we all started to improv, and we made a pretty funny sketch or skit or whatever that we came up with on the spot, staying in those characters and going off stage and back on and off again, saying weird funny things about where we'd looked and where we couldn't find it, until finally the stage manager came rushing along. "Here it is," and the show went on. But we needed to improvise to fill in some time while we tried to work out how to get the narrative to move forward. That's what the origin of improvisation is, but in real life, that's not what we do. We're not trying to just buy time until a script can kick in. There is no script, it's your life. Improvisation is all about saying yes to opportunities. And not just saying yes to opportunities, but saying yes to them and then building on them. So we say, in improvisation, the phrase is yes and. For example, if you and me, and we'll take it back to the stage example. I'm going to take it back on and off the stage example as I teach this content to you today. So coming back to this hypothetical stage, if you and me were to do a little skit for the improvised, and I went, "Hey, you, do you see over there that purple rhinoceros? It's coming right for us." And you were like, "No, I don't see it." That's a shit scene, and the scene is kind of just over. So if instead you said yes to my offer of, "Do you see the rhino, the purple one?" I'd be like, "Yeah, oh wow. And not only do I see it's coming right for us, I reckon we can jump on its back." The scene moves on. You say yes and. Coming back now to the philosophy of improv. Yes and to life. We say yes to the offers and the opportunities around us, and then we say and to them. We build on them. When I just go, "That's an offer, cool, I identified you and I'm on my way." No, we say, "Yes, that's an offer, and what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do with it?" An offer can be anything. It can be as simple as when you're walking down the street and someone looks you in the eye, maybe a cute person, and your eyes lock for half a second and they look away and give a smile and look down. Is there an offer there? Maybe. Is there a chance for you to go, hey, and introduce yourself? Yeah, maybe. If you're receptive enough to it, if you're able to notice the offer in that moment, if you have tuned your instrument, your body, finely enough to detect and notice those offers around you, and to train yourself to be responsive, that when you see them, you can say yes. Yes, and here's my number. Yes, and let's go out on a date on Friday. That's improvisation. That's philosophy of improvisation in practice. And all philosophy should be practical. It should be put into practice. Otherwise, it's just epiphanies. Pointless. Philosophy is supposed to be applied. Otherwise, it's just talking. So, what else? Another very, very, very interesting thing that I learned while studying philosophy of improvisation was to celebrate failure. Not just be like, yeah, you did your best and that's okay. No, when you screw something up, to be like, yes, that's the best thing that happened. Yes. This is quite counterintuitive, especially when you're doing like stage stuff. Like I'll go back to the stage in this example, right? Working with a whole bunch of thespians or people who like to act or like to be on stage. They're used to getting it right and knowing their lines or whatever it might be. And I once did like a 2-week intensive, and every single day we were there doing like many hours of this pretty intense improv training, I guess you could say. And that involved drills and activities and going again and again and again into different scenarios and just seeing what we might be able to pull out from it. A lot of this was done in a group. We'd have like maybe 20 people and we'd all get in a circle, and then a few people would jump in the middle and they'd try a few things with whatever the prompt was. And we might tag team in and out, and people might come and go, who knows? Lots of things might occur. When you're trying to practice saying yes and, you're going to make some mistakes, most likely. This is the whole point. It's practice. If you're already incredibly gifted at it, it wouldn't be any point practicing it. So you're supposed to make mistakes. And you're not going to learn or improve unless you're sort of pushing that barrier, pushing that edge. So to play it safe is completely pointless. You need to be challenging yourself, or why even be there? But we won't challenge ourselves if we're afraid of failure. And so what we had to start doing, and the instructor or whatever teacher person was quite good. Well, he was great. And one thing that he did was he never missed a beat with celebrating a failure. Now, a failure in a scene might look like, yeah, and the rhino, it's, and the, if, we should all, and then maybe I could, and you're, it's purple? Mm-hmm. Most people at that point will go, oh, yikes, ouch. And the person who said that or mumbled or fumbled the ball, I guess, might feel bad. But when that would happen in this workshop, with their teacher, we would all go, oh, that was awkward. And then he would go, yes, clapping as loud as he possibly could. And like, come on. And he'd get everyone to be like, get into it, yes. And it genuinely became the funnest part. So we wouldn't try to fail. We wouldn't come in and be like, hey, I'm gonna stuff this up. Because that, you can tell that's not funny, that doesn't work. But when you try and be like, yeah, and we could like jump and if I'm gonna, and then everyone starts clapping and cheering, it's hilarious and becomes really funny. And the person who did that is like, yeah, rather than, oh God, I hope no one ever sees me ever again, oh no. Quite a different thing. And we didn't get it straight away. I think this was a 2-week thing, and for the first 4 or 5 days, we were like, yeah, good job, I guess. But after a while, we'd be like pushing the teacher out of the way to be like, yeah, come on. This is one of the things that's really stuck with me, because it's so much better than these false platitudes of like, if you fall, then just get back up again. It's like, no, like celebrating failure. If you fail, it's awesome. Like genuinely, like feel genuine excitement and thrill and joy that you screwed up. Because it is a good thing. You wouldn't screw up if you weren't pushing your limits, if you weren't trying to grow. If you were playing it safe, you wouldn't make mistakes. And that's so boring and pointless. So that you screwed up at all means you were pushing. And that's part of what we celebrate. And also, who cares if you make a mistake? Like, who actually cares? Because 1 second after the mistake has happened, it's already in the past. It's already over, so who cares about, like, what's the point of carrying any judgment or shame or sadness? Might as well make the best with what we've got, and how can we do that? By just fucking celebrating it. I think I've made my point. And that'll bring us to the end of today's video. Thank you for your time. If this resonated, if any of this resonated for you, please write down in the comments below anything. Like this, like that. This clicked, that landed. Yes. Do this for you. Write something for the sake of your own integration, on your own reinforcement. And yes, of course, I want to see it, because then I can know what to talk about more next time, to give you more things for you. So write in the comments. Do it. No one ever does it. It's for you. Use them. If you don't have an account, make one, and it takes 5 seconds and you'll get tons of benefit. You're gonna love it. Okay, with that done. My name's Jack. Thank you for your time. If you liked me, if you liked my style, what I talk about, or more importantly, you want to hear what I talk about tomorrow, then hit subscribe, because I make a new video every single day. And then we can both find out what I talk about tomorrow. Because I don't know, because I'll be improvising it. See you then.